and contribute, isn't it, to the fun? Thank you, Jane.
7:49 the time. A week today, National Poetry Day. Our next guest will be marking the occasion by trying to break a Guinness World Record for the largest live poetry lesson.
So, to help her prepare, we sent the author and poet Laura Mucha to a local school and we set her and the children a challenge. Come up with a poem using BBC Breakfast as inspiration. Good luck with that. Let's have a look at how they got on.
I wondered if we could write a poem where we imagine to be BBC Breakfast presenters. How does that sound?
Yeah. That sounds really good.
How are you feeling?
Tired, grumpy, annoying.
I want you to imagine you're reading about the guests, right? So you've got to learn all about...
I don't like it.
So let's write it and then we'll decide. How are you getting there? Are you going...
Oh, private jet. Can I get a cup of coffee?
What are we going to call it? I just want to sleep.
I just want to sleep.
Yeah? All right, this is our poem. Let's do a read-through. Ready?
I just want to sleep. 3:30 a.m. Beep, 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 beep. I throw my alarm out the window. 3:31 a.m. Beep, 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 beep. Why? Okay, fine, I'll get up. Give me my cold pizza. 3:39 a.m. Get dressed. Do you think they'll let me wear my Batman suit today? With my tutu? 4:30 a.m. Read the news. England lost another final. I don't need hair and makeup. I like my bed hair. Read about the guests. Laura Mucha. Never heard of her. Who says she's invited? 2 years on this show. Still no Beyonce. 5:30 a.m. Meeting. No animals in today. Not like the day the mosquito escaped. Brought my fly swatter just in case. 3, deep breath. 2, smile. 1. Good morning. Welcome to BBC Breakfast.
And well done to the gang at St John's Primary School. Laura joins us now. Morning to you. That was all their work, wasn't it?
Yeah, they came up with ideas. I was like, OK, imagine that you have to wake up at 3:30 in the morning. They put their heads down, pretended they were asleep, and then I went, beep, 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 and they were like, oh, this is awful. And we really had a moment of how amazing you are for getting up early and coming here and looking so fabulous and doing a great job when most people are, like, still asleep.
Oh, but we get to hang out with people like you every day.
And very well researched, by the way. They seem to know a lot of detail about what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, thanks. We like
Where'd you get all that stuff from?
I can't disclose my sources, I'm afraid.
OK.
How did you know about Charlie's tutu habit?
There was all sorts of things in there. But clearly, it's you know this, it's about sort of pushing the right buttons, and then they contributed all the stuff.
Well, it's about having ideas, but also about doing your research, because I was conscious that not everyone watches BBC Breakfast.
What?
So can you believe it? I can't believe it. But so we may have had a call with a presenter to do some research, and we may have spoken to some producers about some of the things that happen, and some of the kids were very interested about what happens if you fart on live TV, but I don't think that made it into the video.
Or even what happens when you say that
young.
word on live TV, because that's also a problem.
It's not. It's not. It could be a problem if it does happen. Tell us about National Poetry Day, how the idea came around and why you think it's important to expose more young people to poetry.
So, I imagine that you've got National Poetry Day in your calendar, because it's like the best day of the year after your birthday.
Every year.
Every year. I really like doing poems with kids. I think they're really useful for reluctant readers because you've got white space, they're less intimidating, easier to read, really good at, like, getting into difficult subjects, but also, like, pausing and reflecting. And then I had this idea. You know when you have a bonkers idea and you're like, I don't know if this is going to be brilliant or terrible? And I was like, why don't we try and break a Guinness World Record for largest poetry lesson and try and get 100,000 kids? So then I, like, recruited some charities. I honestly didn't think they'd go for it, but they did. And then I got Guinness World Records in, and then I basically got more and more people in. And now we're at 210,000 kids from 1,300 schools across the UK, but also, like, around the world. Yeah, and I just wanted, basically, to help create something that kids could be proud of and something that wasn't about achievement, but it's about taking part, and something that would empower kids, because I go into schools all the time and see kids who don't like reading, who don't like writing, who don't think it's for them, and whose families aren't really into it. But actually, it's not just useful for, like, practical stuff. It's really good for your mental health. And
how does it work in practice, the lesson? Do they have to contribute or just watch, or what will actually happen in the moment?
It's a very good question. So
Thank you.
Put
that in the poem.
You've done this before. I'll put it in the poem. So I created teaching resources of a video and handout, because if you just go to people, like we did in the video, write a poem about being a presenter, it's a blank page. So I wanted to help them think about what counts, which counting is the theme of National Poetry Day. So I made this video, got them to think about what they're counting, what they think counts, and who they're counting on. 350 schools have submitted all their students' ideas, which I am reading through, which has taken quite a while. And I'm turning them into a draft poem, but with lots and lots of options, so it's colour-coded. Then in the live lesson, everyone that comes will vote on what goes in and what goes out in real time. So there'll be, like, little polls on screen, and you'll see this idea, like, don't like that one. And I've done this before with 16,500 kids, but this is just going larger.
What's the existing record?
Well, there is no record. So Guinness World Records have given me guidelines that I have to get 1,000 kids. And so far, we've got 210,000. So even if half don't come, we're going to smash it.
You're going to be fine, aren't you?
We're going to be fine.
And the final poem, once on this live lesson, they've curated the directions in which it goes, where it ends up.
Yeah.
And you have no idea where it will end
not.
up. Looking forward to the final product. Where will we be able to see it?
So it will be on the Children's Poetry Archive. It will be on billboards around the country. It's going to be in places like the Week Junior, and basically all the charities involved are going to put it up. So we're turning it into a poster that will be available for schools to put up. They can also get a Guinness World Record certificate. So I'm sort of hoping that in the receptions of schools, kids will walk past this thing and be like, I did that.
And what would you say to teachers watching who perhaps...
OK? Want a glass of water?
That's what they do in schools.
OK.
That's how kids behave. What would you say, finally, to teachers who perhaps look at poetry in a way that's quite traditional, that's maybe a bit tired? How can you encourage them to get little people to think differently about writing?
Little people?
Small humans.
I think... just try reading some poems yourself, because there's loads of research that asks teachers to name a poet, and often they can only name one, and it's usually Michael Rosen, who's amazing. But try reading a bit of poetry. You could, like, just put random poems up in your class, not say anything about it. Kids will start reading, share them, and then also don't focus on, like, the measurable things like rhyme and metre, and encourage, like, the creativity and the fun and also the emotion. Because sometimes when you're trying to be a bit too strict about it, you lose some of the joy of it.
Can't go wrong with it as Spike Milligan, can you?
Yeah, legend.
Good luck with your giant class.
Thanks.
Hope it goes well.
Are you going to come?
Well, there's probably age restrictions there. I'm thinking that you'd think there would be.
Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing the finished poem. Very exciting. And not too late to join up.
No, not too late to join up. Come!
Charlie's keen.
Time now to get the news, travel and weather where you are.